That was me. In life, loud and chaotic, that's me. My brain is always working faster than this thing, so it's always chaos around me. I have been told to stick to 15 minutes, so I'll go really fast on this one. But when Sarita spoke to me, I was like, there's so many accomplished women here, what am I going to say? She's like, you're a visual storyteller, just tell your story. So I was like, okay, here I am telling you a story. So yeah, this is my newest and the very latest one-month-old venture, which is / consulting. So as my story goes, I graduated from BIT Mesra as an architect, 1999. And those who have started doing the math, please don't. I don't want you all to guess my age. So what I had planned was something like this, but what really happened with my life was very chaotic again. And if you graduate as an architect from an engineering college, the thing is you're not going to be happy for the first few years because the engineers are always earning way more than architects. So to give you a perspective, in 1999, they were getting jobs of 17,000 and 18,000, and we were getting 5,000 as the start pay. So, so sulked for a year and said, people are not giving enough value to what you're bringing to the table. So in a couple of years, not couple of years, 1.5 years, decided that people are not giving me money, so rather start my own and see where life takes me. So what happened was that I was working in an architectural firm, and I got a freelance opportunity which was giving me 30K. I was earning some 7.5 in that firm, and I was like, okay, I'm sorted for 3 months, I can start. My parents were visiting at that time, and they were like, your husband is studying, he was doing masters at that time, and I was funding his masters, I was taking care of the rent and everything, and you want to leave the job. And they were really worried, like in 30K for 3 months, then what happens post? What if it doesn't work out? So there were a lot of questions around the decision of leaving job, but I thought that, let me take the leap of faith and I'll see how it goes. And the only smart thing I did was I went up to my boss and said, I want to try this thing, but in 3 months, if it doesn't work out, I'm coming back, you don't have a choice. So, this is a safe thing to do, and also borrowed money from family to get a computer. In that time, we didn't have enough money for the computer. So, took this leap of faith. This was the actual office. We started at the home with 2 computers. So, whatever came along, it was like, you do architecture, you do interior design jobs, you get 3D rendering, and, anything that would pay money, we would take it. This was the same time when website designing was becoming very popular, and so self-taught myself to do, inside pages and home pages and campaign landing pages and things like that. So started with that, but always. So in the daytime it was office, in the nighttime it was home, but the dream was always to make it big. The dream was to get to a place where you have something which you have created, which is valuable in some way. So what happened in 5-6 years, worked really hard. I had like a scooty, a TVS scooty, which I used to call Dhanno. I don't know how many people relate to that pop culture, but it was Dhanno for me. And from Thane to VT was my regular routine because there were sites which were going on May, June. It was on the scooty. I had no other means, but worked really hard in those times. There was no option to fail because it had to create some value for me and my family at the same time. We had, by the end of 4-5 years, we had started doing a lot of websites. We had clients like ICICI Bank, and we were doing designs, inside pages, microsites for them and things like that. And we had companies like Omnicon and Visualize Technologies who were outsourcing work to us as well. And after 5 years, they came to us and said that, Visualize is going to merge with a company in London, and they wanted somebody to be there to stabilize business between UK and here. So the proposition came along. They said, why don't you merge your clients with us? And that's how the first company got acquired by Visualize Technologies. And we packed bags, a big risk to start from zero again, leave the business, leave the people who you had worked with, grown, and brought their dreams. Didn't know how their lives would shape up, but it was a risk to take. I also had a 1.5-year-old at that time. And some of the things which actually, I want to share is, when I was pregnant and I was still going on sites and working, some of the things that came along were like, your husband might not be doing well. Why are you working when you are 7 months pregnant? And that really stays with you that, is the woman's career not so important? Why can't people think that it is, it is important for me to work is why I'm working, not because it is, I need money is why I'm working, right? So some of the things actually pull you down at times, but you have to brave through it and say that, I'm doing what I'm doing, people can think what they want to think. So went to London, and the investment which I had made in my husband by paying for his fees in rupees, it was the right investment because he had to pay in pounds for me to get my degree. This was 7 years after, the career had taken off. Everything was going very well. The bank balance was increasing. We were saving a lot and everything. We were learning a lot. It was one of the best decisions we took, actually, because there was new culture, different diversity of people meeting. It just opens up the mind to a different level. And it was much ahead of the curve in terms of user experience design. And that's what I learned there. And we were seeing that there is such a huge difference between where India was in that moment and where UK was, where London was in terms of the type of designs which they were doing, the problems which they were solving, the innovations which were going on. And that really was enriching in terms of the whole experience of when we were there. So learned from there, but 5 years in London, realized this is a job, doing the same thing now, come to a standstill, not learning anything new anymore. And there was always this dream of, what can we create next? What is the next big thing for me? And there was a choice to make. We could have stayed there and created another business in London, or we could have come back. The point was the disruption which we needed to do was to think whether the value which we want to create is better created in India or in UK. UK already was advanced at that level, and India was just emerging. So at that point, we decided that what we can create in India was huge in terms of impact. So we wanted to create a dent in the universe. We wanted to say that, let's make a difference in the design space. India is not considered, a good designer country. It is more of a tech company. It's known for the tech talent. We wanted to put India on the global map for design. And that's why we returned to India with no plan B, with just some savings, no idea of how we are going to start, what is going to happen. We were happy, but the kid was not, of course. He was, didn't want to leave there. And that is how Fractal Studio started. So it started in a garage, which was, in a very shady place in Chembur. And, every morning we had to do like a shutter up and shutter down, and there would be cabbages and garbage outside, condoms lying around, and we would have to actually clean around because it was in one corner of the space, and we were just 5 of us when we started the company in that setup. And again, Kanika was saying, people used to think, like we had partnered with Microsoft at that time for their Windows 8 platform, which they were launching. And we didn't want to tell them that we didn't have people. So for 2 years, my routine was wake up at 2 o'clock, finish the designs by 8 o'clock in the morning, then wait for it to send it in the end of the day. And during the day, take the meetings, take the calls, do business development, and get more business. So for 2 straight years, that was the routine. But it was fulfilling. It was really, really great to, have that satisfaction that people still think that there is so much value coming in terms of design from India. So I hope you remember this that there was a dream of the shiny office. So in 2010, we started. And in 2016, this was the office which we created. So trust me, this image, the spick and span image which you see, remained for like half an hour. That is when the pictures were taken. After that, it was a chaos, the whole thing. So it started from 6 people, and it actually became a 70-member team, only pure design, user experience design company in 2016. And that's when we got noticed by the Dentsu Aegis network. And the acquisition happened in 2016. It was the first design company to be acquired with a valuation of over $40 million. And this actually created a trend in the space. And after that, post this, a lot of design companies have been acquired in this space. I know everybody has learnings, and I don't want to repeat the same things again because it's practically the same thing. And I know you all have seen too much of Jan today, but just a little. One thing which really sticks with me is what I have seen, and we have hired 70% of our workforce is women and young women. And again, somebody who's saying that, women are much smarter, and I vouch for that left, right, and center, because, and it is not by design that we have 70% women. It is by the interviews which they give, the way they appear, the way they talk, the way, the confidence which they have, the knowledge which they bring to the table is just beyond comparison. And I'm not saying to disrespect any men, there are good men as well, but it's just by the sheer, I think, the value which they bring to the table. And I'm talking, the average age of the company is 28 years old. 27, 28 is the average age of the company. And they're just so driven and so, interested in working and bringing that value, and the drive which they have is just outstanding, and it's infectious. So we remain young because they are young, right? But one thing which is very, which came out very strongly for me was that they're still very restricted by family and what they want to say and how they listen to the families, and with no disrespect. But my mother-in-law is not allowing me to go to South Africa. If there's a project in South Africa, they won't allow. Or my parents don't want me to go with so many people outside, with so many men outside. So that was limiting, and there were occasions where we had to actually talk to the parents and take personal guarantees that, it's okay to send, we are there, we are taking care of them and things like that. But to that, so once they left that floor, once they left that one step of going outside, there was no stopping. Then they wanted to go outside, they wanted to work outside, they wanted to earn more and more and things like that. So what I've realized is there is no glass ceiling. Once they leave that things which are pulling them behind, they actually fly very, very high. And the second is that, so we were always accused of having a chip on the shoulder, and we are very proud of that. We are not arrogant, but we had a value to ourselves. So if people said, you are 10 times more expensive than the other agency, we were like, fine, please go ahead. We will give you connections with the other agencies if you want to go and work with them. But we are what we are because the kind of value which we bring to the table. So we always had a chip to the shoulder, and we never shortchanged ourselves in terms of charging less for any client. And somebody was asking what is a leading style. I think my leading style was always being very emotional. I cry for the silliest things and the most ridiculous things, but I have used it to my advantage in a way that people connect with me. And I know that as a matter of fact, if I go anywhere, they will come with me as, being there. To an extent that, there was a client, and 10 of our people were working at that bank. And there was a complaint that came in saying that your girls are wearing very short clothes. And, please tell them to maintain the office decorum. We left the client. We were like, we will not tell our girls what to wear. This is not how we lead. And we actually left. The profits were not important. How people treat our people was very, very important. And you said that people matter most. And for us, that was the Bible of how we treat our people. Always made ourselves uncomfortable. Looked at the next big thing and said that if we don't know, we will learn. and we will do it, but we will do it the first in the country. We will not wait for others to do it and then we follow. We will do it right at the beginning. We'll be ready when it hits the market. Whether it was the IoT of things, whether it is metaverse, whether it is innovations, you name it, and we will do it first, and we will be ready when the clients start demanding for it. I know people say that you should know your balance sheets and you should know, how to manage your finances, which is very good. You should know, but not via spreadsheets. For us, and it's my learning, that it limits you in a way that you only think in terms of where it can take you, or it's one imagination. For us, what had worked was our board meetings were normally on a tapri chai. We never had formal board meetings, so we would sit there and we're like, "Acha, is bar kitna karna hai?" And some ridiculous number would come. This time we'll do 40 crores. Like, what are you mad? Nahi ho paega itna. It's a design business. You can't do it. And then we would do back calculation and we'll say, "Acha, iske liye per month itna karna padega. Iska matlab itne clients chahiye. So let's go and do it." So that's the way we built the business, on a gut feel, on the very. It is an emotional business which we did, and emotions were what drove us to the success which we had. But this is what I had learned. You will make your own. But I am at a place where I'm confused again. I am looking for new things to do and new ventures. So if anybody has an idea, please tell me. But yeah, that's me. Thank you so much.